Thank you, Mr. Kielbasa. That's wonderful. We are here tonight. Are you excited? Yes. I have to tell you, when I walked, when the choir and the strings students walked in the back and you just saw them walking in, my heart is just so happy to see that, to see our band, to see all of our theater students. Just so glad to be here. And just like the program show tonight, titled "It's a Wonderful Life," as much as we've been through some crazy stuff in the last couple years, it's a wonderful life, and tonight just reminds us of all that goodness, so I hope you enjoy it. So tonight we are featuring our middle school band, our middle school strings, our middle school choir, and our middle school theater classes. They're going to be performing some Christmas songs for you tonight. They're going to be performing an actual radio show version of It's a Wonderful Life. So you are the audience and you also get to participate as well. There'll be some signs that might say applause or encouraging you to do certain things to engage as the audience. So please do be a part of it and give us kind of that encouragement. And we will also have some fun sound effects and everything just like they used to do in a real radio show. So I hope you enjoy it. And at this time, I'd like to call up our pastor, Father Steve, who will begin this evening in prayer.
Good evening, everyone. I would also like to echo, as Ms. Gemma had pointed out, it is so wonderful to be able to be together and to have these kinds of opportunities. So it's wonderful to have this chance to be together and to celebrate. So I would like to invite everyone to please stand. And let's gather with a little prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. And Lord God, we thank you for the blessings that you give us in life. And today especially, I want to say a special thank you for the many talents of our student community. We see in so many ways how they're able to use their gifts and skills to bring a joy and happiness to life. Thank you for giving those gifts to them and helping them to have the opportunity to develop those skills and gifts even more fully. And so we ask you to continue to watch over our whole student community and help them to continue to grow and recognize all that they have to offer in all of the ways that they can, in fact, make our world a better place. We thank you, too, for the gift of our parent community. In so many ways, so supportive and so caring, and of course, helping to make these opportunities possible. So, Lord, we ask you to bless us this evening, help us to enjoy a wonderful time together and an amazing performance. And of course, in a special way, too, we ask your blessing as we head forward through the Advent season, but especially during the Christmas season, gathering together as family and friends. Bless us in our opportunities to be together. And we ask all this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you.
We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is STBEN Playhouse of the Air. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings. Greetings from STBEN Studio A in Chicago, Illinois, right here in the US of A. I'm your host, Fiona Fillmore, and it is my pleasure to bring you and your favorite stories this and every week on STBEN Playhouse of the Air. Tonight, we bring you a real feel-good heartwarmer, perfect for this or any Christmas Eve. It's a Wonderful Life. We begin our story in the little town of Bedford Falls, New York, where a number of people in the town are praying for their dear friend, a typical American named George Bailey.
Dear God, please look over my husband, George.
George is a good boy. You know that. My son has always gone out of his way to give others a hand. Now it's him he
Help
needs
my
help.
big brother George. He's done so much for all of us. More for me than I remember.
I remember all the times he would stay late after work and not ask consent. The world needs more people like George Bailey.
George Bailey never thinks about himself. I wouldn't have a roof over my head if it wasn't
If it
for
wasn't
him.
for him, I would have given up all a long time ago. All I can think about is myself. I must have given him the last son I had.
The voices carry heavenward, and Joseph, the superintendent of angels, summons Clarence, an apprentice angel.
You sent for me, sir?
Yes, Clarence. A man down on Earth needs our help.
Splendid. Is he sick?
No, worse. He's discouraged. At exactly 10:45 p.m. tonight, Earth time, that man will be thinking seriously of throwing away God's greatest gift.
Oh dear, his life? Then I've only a half hour to dress. What are they wearing now?
You will spend that half hour getting acquainted with George Bailey.
Sir, if I should accomplish my mission, might I perhaps win my wings? I've been waiting over 200 years now, and people are beginning to talk.
What's that book you got with you?
Oh, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, sir.
You do a good job with George Bailey, and we'll see about your wings.
Thank you.
If you're going to help George, you want to know a little something about him. Look, see the town.
Why, yes, a group of young boys sledding down a snow-covered hill and onto the ice.
Yippee!
Who's that?
That's George Bailey, when he was 12 back in 1919. Something happens here you'll have to remember later on.
Here comes the scare baby, my kid brother, Harry Bailey.
I'm not scared.
Come on, Harry. Attaboy, Harry. Attaboy.
Yippee!
Help!
Harry's fallen through the ice.
I'm coming, Harry. Make a chain, gang.
His brother fell through the ice and George saved him.
But the icy water gave George a bad year. It was weeks before he could return to his after-school job at Old Man Gower's drugstore.
It's me, Mr. Gower, George Bailey.
You're late.
2 cents worth of shoelaces, Violet?
Please, Georgie. I like him.
You like every boy.
What's wrong with that?
Here you are.
Bye, Georgie. See you later, Mary.
Made up your mind yet, Mary?
I'll take chocolate.
With coconuts.
I don't like coconuts.
You don't like coconuts? Say, brainless, don't you know where coconuts come from? Looky here, from Tahiti, Fiji Islands, the Coral Sea.
Is that a new magazine? I never saw it before.
Of course you never. Only us explorers get it. I've been nominated for membership in the National Geographic Society. Let me get you your ice cream.
Is this the ear you can't hear on? George Bailey, I'll love you till the day I die.
I'm going exploring someday, wait and see.
George, you're not paid to be a canary.
Goodbye, George.
Goodbye, Mary.
What was that piece of paper George just picked up?
It's a telegram from Mr. Gower. He found out this morning that his son died of influenza, and he spent the afternoon drowning his grief in whiskey.
Mr. Gower, do you need anything?
No.
I'll get him, sir.
Take those capsules over to Miss Blaine's.
They have the diphtheria there, haven't they?
Oh, get going.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gower, that bottle you used, you put something wrong in those capsules.
Who do you think you're talking to?
You're hurting my sore ear.
Did you hear what I said? Get out of here.
Mr. Gower, you don't know what you're doing. You put something wrong in those capsules. I know you got that telegram and you're upset, but look at the bottle you used, Mr. Gower. It's poison.
Poison?
Don't hit my sore ear again.
Poison? Oh, George.
All I wanted was to make sure, Mr. Gower. I won't ever tell a soul. Hope to die. I won't.
Did you ever tell anyone about those pills?
Not a soul.
Did you ever marry the girl? Did you ever go exploring?
We'll get there soon enough, Clarence. George grew up and wanted to go to college, but there just wasn't the money, so he worked 4 years in the Building and Loan Association.
Building and Loan Association?
George's father was in the building and loan business along with George's uncle, Billy.
George, what's the combination to the safe?
We wrote it down so you wouldn't forget it.
That's right. Where?
Who's that?
That's Henry F. Potter, the richest and meanest man in all of the county.
Peter, Potter's here.
Mr. Bailey, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Bailey. There's nothing quite so lonesome as a family business. Now, Peter, you know what I'm here for. I'm on a very tight schedule, Family 2 Victor 3.
Okay then, Mr. Potter. Here's the thing. I just need a little more time. I'll dig up that $5,000 somehow.
Have you put any pressure on those people of yours to pay their mortgages?
Times are hard, Mr. Potter. A lot of people are out of work.
Then foreclose.
Can't do that. These families have children.
Are you running a business or a charity ward?
Mr. Potter, what makes you such a hard-schooled character? You have no family, no children. You can't begin to spend all the money you got.
So I suppose I should give it to miserable failures like you and that idiot brother of yours to spend for me?
You can't call my father a failure.
All right, son. Thanks.
Don't let him say that about you, Pop.
What kind of business are you running here?
George worked and saved enough to see him through the university, but first he was going to Europe. Old Man Gower surprised him with a gift of a great big suitcase. On his way home from the store, he ran into his friends Ernie the cab driver and Bert the cop.
Hey, Ernie.
Hey, George.
Hi, Bert.
Hey, George, what's the suitcase for?
I'm a rich tourist today. How about driving me home in style?
Sure, Your Highness. Hop in the cab. And for the carriage trade, I puts on my hat.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bailey. Looks like you're all ready to get out of here.
Hello, Violet. Hey, you look good. That's some dress.
Oh, this old thing? Why, I only wear it when I don't care how I look. See you later.
Want to come along, Bert? We'll show you the town.
No thanks. I think I'll go home and see what the wife's doing.
Family man.
And that evening, George had dinner with his father.
Boy, my last supper in the Bailey boarding house.
We're sure going to miss you, George. I wish we could send Harry to college with you.
We have that all figured out. Harry will take my job at the building and loan for 4 years, then he'll go.
He's pretty young for that job.
No younger than I was.
You were born older, George. I suppose you've decided what you're going to do when you get out of college.
What I've always talked about. Building things, designing new buildings, planning modern cities.
Oh, it's just a hope. But you wouldn't consider coming back to the building and loan, would you? I know it's early to talk about it.
Oh, I couldn't face being cooped up in for the rest of my life in that shabby little office. I'm sorry, Pop. I didn't mean for that remark. But this building of spending all your life trying to figure out how to save 3 cents on a length of pipe, I'd go crazy. I want to do something big and important.
You know, George, I feel in a small way we are doing something important. It's not too much for a man to want his own roof and walls and a fireplace, and we're helping him get those things in our shabby little office.
I know, Dad, but most of my friends have already finished college. I just feel like if I don't get away, I'm bust.
You're right, son. This town's no place if you aren't willing to crawl to Potter. Get your education, then get out of here.
I'm glad you see what I'm talking about. Say, maybe I'll say goodbye to Main Street, last night in town and all.
Have a good time, son.
Hello, Georgie Porgy.
Hello, Vi.
Where are you going?
Oh, I'll probably just end up at the library.
Don't you ever get tired of reading just about things?
Yes. What are you doing tonight?
Not a thing, Georgie.
Are you game, Vi? Let's say we make a night out of it.
Oh, I love it, Georgie. What do we do?
Let's go out in the fields and take off our shoes and walk in the grass.
Huh?
And then we can go up to Stewart Lake. It's beautiful up there in the moonlight. And we can swim. And then we can climb Mount Bedford and smell the pine, see? And watch the sunrise against the peaks. And we'll stay up there the whole night and everyone will be talking and there'll be a terrific scandal.
George, have you gone crazy? Walking grass in my bare feet? Why, it's 10 miles up to Mount Bedford. You think just because you...
Okay, just forget about the whole thing.
Hee-haw, forgot about what, George?
Oh, nothing, Sam.
You remember Mary, don't you?
Hi, George.
Hi, Mary.
You wouldn't mind walking Mary home, would you?
Of course not. Is that okay with you, Mary?
Fine by me.
Great, thanks. Hee-haw.
George walked Mary home. Is that important, Joseph?
I'd say it is because even though Mary lived only 4 blocks away, it took them 2 hours to get there.
Hot dog, oh boy. Gee whiz.
Beautiful.
You know something? If it wasn't me talking, I'd say you're the prettiest girl in town.
Well, why don't you say it?
I don't know. Maybe I will. Hey, look where we are.
Oh, the old Granville house.
Yeah, I gotta throw a rock.
Oh, no, don't. I love that old house.
Don't you know about deserted houses? You make a wish, then you throw a rock.
But George, it's such a lovely old place. I wish I lived there.
I wouldn't live there if I was a ghost. Now watch this. Pretty good shot, huh? Broke a window.
What's your wish, George?
Not just one wish, a whole hatful. Mary, I'm shaking the dust out of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm gonna see the world. Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum. Then I'm coming back here to go to college and see what they know. Then I'm gonna come build airfields and skyscrapers 100 stories high and bridges a mile long. Hey, are you gonna throw a rock too? Hey, that's pretty good. What'd you wish for, Mary?
Oh, no. If I tell you, it may not come true.
What do you want, Mary? Do you want the moon? All you gotta say the word, and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Okay, I'll take it. And then what?
And then you could swallow it, and it'll all dissolve, see? And the moonbeams will shoot out of your fingers and your toes, and your ends of the hair and the... Am I talking too much?
George!
Uncle Billy?
George, get in the car quick. Your father's had a stroke.
I'm sorry, I gotta go, Mary.
And George's father died that night, Clarence, so George couldn't go to Europe. That fall, as he was ready to leave for college, the directors of the building and loan held a meeting. They were going to appoint a successor.
I want the board to know that George gave up his trip to Europe to help straighten things out here these past few months, and it was greatly appreciated. I think that's all we'll need from you, George. Good luck to you at school. I know you're anxious to make a train.
Yes, I have a taxi waiting downstairs.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to get my real purpose. I claim this institution is not necessary to this town. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to dissolve the building and loan.
It's too soon after Peter Bailey's death to discuss chloroforming the building and loan. His faith and devotion are responsible for this organization.
I'll go further than that. I'll say Peter Bailey was the building and loan.
Oh, that's fine. Potter, coming from you, considering that you drove him to his grave.
Peter Bailey was not a businessman, that's what killed him. He was a man of high ideals without common sense. And what does that get us but discontent, lazy rabble instead of a thrifty working class? All because of a few starry-eyed dreamers like Peter Bailey stir them up and fill their heads with law impossible hooey. Now I say...
Just a minute, Mr. Potter. You're right when you say my father was no businessman. Why he ever started this building loan? I'll never know. But you can't say anything against his character. Why? In the 25 years since he and Uncle Billy started this thing, he never once thought of himself. But he did help a few people get out of your slums, Mr. Potter. And just remember that this rabble you're talking about do the most working and paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? My father didn't think so. People are human beings to him. But to you, a warped, frustrated old man, they're cattle. In my book, he died a much richer man than you will ever be.
I'm not interested in your book.
Well, I said too much. You're the board. You do what you want with this thing. But just remember that this town needs this measly one-horse institution, if only to have some place where people can come without crawling to Potter. Come on, Uncle Billy.
Sentimental hogwash, I want my motion!
They're just coming out the board meeting. I have to call you back. What happened, George? All we heard was yelling.
Boy, oh boy, Matilda, you should have heard George.
Yeah, they're voting us down in there.
They're putting us out of business. So what? I can get another job. I'm only 52.
You're 58.
George, they voted Potter down.
Whoopee, we're still in business.
Under the one condition that you take your father's place, George.
I'm going to college. Uncle Billy, he's here. He's your man.
You can keep him on, that's all right.
I'm going to school. This is my last chance.
But they'll vote with Potter otherwise.
So George Bailey didn't go to college.
That's right, Clarence. He gave his college money to his brother instead and waited 4 years for Harry to come back and take over the building and loan. Then he could still see the world.
There she blows. Say, Uncle Billy, do you know what the 3 most wonderful sounds on earth are?
Breakfast is served, lunch is served, and dinner is served.
Anchor chains, plane motors, and train whistles. Here's the professor now.
Well, if it isn't George Geographic Explorer Bailey. Uncle Billy, you haven't changed a bit.
Oh, am I glad to see you.
Where's Mother?
She's at home cooking the fatted calf. Come on, let's go.
Oh, wait, this is Ruth Dakin.
Ruth Dakin Bailey, if you don't mind.
I wired you I had a surprise. Here she is. Meet the wife.
Well, what do you know, wife?
Congratulations. Harry, why didn't you tell someone what's a pretty girl like you doing marrying this 2-headed brother of mine?
It's purely mercenary. My father offered him a job.
Oh, he gets you and a job? Here his cup runneth over. Come on, Ruth, let's start ahead and leave the bags for the fellas.
All right.
George, about that job, I never said I'd take it. But you've been holding the bag here for 4 years, and I won't let you down.
And that night, the homecoming for Harry became his wedding party. Uncle Billy familiarized himself with the spirits.
Oh boy, I feel so good I could spit in Potter's eye. I think I will. What do you say? Maybe I should go home. If you just point me in the right direction.
Right down there.
That way? Okay. Old building and lone pal. See you later. I'm all right.
George? Out here on the porch, Mother.
Well, how do you like your new sister-in-law?
She's swell.
Looks like she'll keep Harry on his toes.
Yeah, came out of Bedford Falls anyway.
George, do you know Mary Hatch is back from school?
Yeah.
Nice girl, Mary, the kind who will help you find all the answers.
Uh-huh.
Give me one good reason you shouldn't call on her.
Well, Sam Wainwright. Sam's crazy about her.
Well, she's not crazy about him.
How do you know that? Did she discuss it with you?
Besides, Sam's in New York, and you're here in Bedford Falls.
And all's fair in love and war.
I don't know about war. Oh, George.
Bye, Mrs. Bailey. By the way, do you want any books at the library?
The library? George, you go and see Mary, you hear? Hello, George.
Hello, Mary. I just happened to be passing by.
Your mother just phoned and said you were on your way.
My mother just called you? How did she know? I just went to a walk and just happened to be passing by. When did you get back?
Tuesday. Would you like to come in?
Well, I guess since I'm here. Where'd you get that dress?
Do you like it?
It's all right. I thought you'd go back to New York with Sam and the rest of them.
Oh, I worked a couple of vacations, but I don't know. I guess I was homesick.
Homesick for Bedford Falls?
Yes, and my family and everything.
I still can't understand it, though. I didn't tell anyone I was coming here.
Would you rather leave?
Oh, I don't want to be rude.
It was nice about Harry and Ruth, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's all right.
Don't you like her?
Well, of course. I like her. She's a peach.
It's just marriage in general you're not enthusiastic about.
No, marriage is okay for Harry and Sam and you.
Mary, who are you talking to?
It's George Bailey, Mother.
George Bailey? What does he want?
I don't know. What do you want, George?
Me? Not a thing. I just came in to get warm.
Well, you tell him to go right back home. Sam Wainwright promised to call you from New York tonight, didn't he?
Your mother and Edith, I didn't come here to,
What did you come here for?
You're supposed to be the one who has all the answers. You tell me.
Oh, why don't you go home?
That's where I'm going.
Mary, the telephone. It's Sam.
I'll get it. Hee-haw. Hello, Sam. How are you?
Oh, great, G. It's great to hear your voice again.
Oh, well, that's awfully sweet of you, Sam. There's an old friend of yours here, George Bailey.
You mean old Mossback George? I'll put him on.
Wait a minute. I'll call him. George! He asked for him. George, Sam wants to speak to you.
Hello, Sam.
Hi, fine pal you are. What are you trying to do to steal my girl?
No one's trying to steal your girl.
I want to talk to both of you. Tell Mary to get on the extension.
Mother's on the extension.
I am not.
We can both hear you. George, put your head a little closer.
Okay.
There, that's better. We're listening, Sam.
I have a big deal coming up that's going to make us all rich. George, remember that night at Martini's Bar when you told me about making plastics out of soybeans?
Huh? Yeah, soybeans.
Well, my father checked it out and he wants to build a factory outside of Rochester. How do you like that?
Why Rochester?
Why not? Can you think of anything better?
Well, and why not right here in Bedford Falls? You remember that old tool and machinery works? You tell your father that he can get that for a song. And all that labor he wants too. Half the town was thrown out of work when they closed down.
That's so? Well, that sounds great. Now, here's the point, George. I may have a job for you. That is unless you are still married to that old, broken-down building alone. Oh, Mary?
I'm here.
Tell that guy I'm giving him a chance of his lifetime.
He says it's the chance of a lifetime.
Give me that phone. Now, you listen to me, Mary. I don't want any plastics, and I don't want any job, and I don't want to get married, ever, to anyone. You understand that? I want to do what I want to do, and you're not gonna... oh, Mary.
George.
Oh, Mary. I love you.
George, I love you too.
George and Mary were married, and following the wedding and representation, George's old pal Ernie, the cab driver, drove the happy couple to the train station.
Where are you two off on this here now honeymoon?
We're gonna shoot the works. A whole week in New York, then Bermuda, the highest hotels, the oldest champagne, the richest caviar, the hottest music, and the prettiest wife.
Here's the kitty, Ernie. $2,000. I feel like a bootlegger's wife.
Finally getting out of Bedford Falls? Huh? Then what?
Then what, honey?
After that, who cares?
Hey, George, there's something funny going on over there. Look, over there at the bank. Looks like a run.
Pull over, will you, Ernie?
George, let's not stop. Please, let's go straight to the station.
Wait a minute, I better see what this is. I'll be right back. What is this, Uncle Billy? A holiday? Why are the doors locked? There's a crowd up front.
This is a pickle, George.
What happened?
The bank called our loan, and I had to give out all our cash.
All of it?
Every last cent of it.
Holy mackerel!
And then I got scared, George.
Open the doors, let him in. Now just remember that this thing isn't as black as it appears.
Where's our money, George?
You're thinking about this place all wrong. The money's not here. Your money's in people's houses. In the Kennedy house, the McLaren house, and the hundreds of others. Now what are you going to do? Foreclose on them?
I've got $240 in here, and $240 isn't going to break anybody.
All right, Charlie, you'll get your money in 60 days.
60 days?
That's what you agreed to when you bought your shares.
I got my money. Old man Potter's taken over the bank. He'll pay you 50 cents on every dollar.
50 cents on each dollar? What? If Potter gets a hold of your shares, he'll own this building and loan. He's got the bank, he's got the bus line, and he's got the department stores. And he's now after us, because he wants to keep you living in his shacks and paying the kind of rent he decides to charge. Now we can get through this, all right? But we're going to have faith in each other.
My husband's out of work. We need money.
I got doctor bills to pay.
How much do you need? We've got $2,000 from the wedding.
Hey, Mary! I got $2,000 here. This will tide us over till the bank reopens. All right, Charlie, how much do you need?
$240.
Ah, Charlie, just enough to tide you over?
I'll take $240.
Okay, Uncle Billy, give Charlie $242. All right, Ed, now how much just to get by?
$20, I suppose.
Now we're talking. Miss Thompson, how about you?
But it's your own money, George.
Never mind that. How much, Mrs. Thompson?
Could I have $17.50?
7. Bless your heart. Of course you can have it. Uncle Billy, give her $17.50. Pay it back when you can. All right, who's next?
Look at the clock, look.
5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1, 6 o'clock! We made it! Lock that door, Uncle Billy. We're still in business.
Bailey Brothers building, and just a minute, George. There's a call for you.
Look, will you get my wife on the phone? She's probably over at her mother's.
Mrs. Bailey is on the phone.
I don't want Mrs. Bailey. I want my wife. Oh, Mrs. Bailey, that's my wife. Mary? Hello. Listen, dear. I'm sorry. What? Come home? What home? 320 Sycamore? What? Whose house is that? The Waldorf Hotel? Huh?
That doesn't look like the Waldorf.
Oh no, number 320 Sycamore was the old Granville house, the one George and Mary threw rocks at and made wishes. Mary had prepared the house, including a turkey dinner, romantic decorations, and even a marriage bed.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
Well, I'll be.
Remember the night we broke the windows in this old house? This is what I wished for.
Darling, you're wonderful.
Yes, sir, that's where they spent their honeymoon. That's where they started their lives together. Mary made the leaky house a home, while George toiled away at the building and loan office.
Oh, gee, Mary Hatch. Why in the world would you ever marry a guy like me?
To keep from being an old maid.
I was going to give you the moon, but what have I given you? Not even a new dress, not for months. You could have married Sam Wainwright, anyone else in town.
I didn't want to marry anyone else in town. I want my baby to look just like you.
You didn't even have a honeymoon. I promised you. Your what?
My baby.
You mean, Mary, you're on the nest?
George Bailey lassos the stork.
Well, Mary had her baby, a boy.
You
don't say.
Then she had a girl. Night after night, George would come home late from the office. Things weren't good with the building and loan. Potter was bearing down hard. Then came the war. Mary had another baby by then, but still had the time to run the USO. Gower and Uncle Billy sold war bonds. Violet entertained the troops. Bert the cop was wounded in North Africa, got the Silver Star. Ernie the taxi driver parachuted into France, but Harry Bailey topped them all. A Navy flyer, he shot down 15 planes, 2 of them as they were about to crash into a transport full of soldiers.
What about George?
4-4 on account of his ear. George fought the Battle of Bedford Falls, air raid, Warden, paper drives, scrap drives, rubber drives. On VE Day, he wept and prayed. On VJ Day, he wept and prayed again.
We're getting pretty close to today, aren't we, sir?
Yes, Clarence. You know almost everything you have to know about George Bailey, except what happened that finds him down there at this moment wanting to die. Today's the day before Christmas, and Billy's at the bank to make a deposit when he runs into Potter.
Well. Mr. Henry F. Potter, come to the bank to deposit some more loot? How do you like the news in the paper, Mr. Potter? Harry Bailey wins Congressional Medal of Honor.
Let me see that newspaper.
Here you go. Go on and keep it. I'm off to make a deposit.
Good morning, Mr. Bailey.
Good morning, Horace. Here you are, deposit slip, bank book, and a very Merry Christmas to you.
You too, Mr. Bailey. You want to make a deposit?
Well, certainly.
Well, it's customary to bring the money with you.
It's gone? Where did I put it? Where did I put that money?
A terrible thing, Clarence. Uncle Billy couldn't find the money because the envelope with the $8,000 was folded up in that newspaper he gave to old Tollman Potter. At the same time as Billy started looking for the deposit, Violet came to visit George at the building and loan.
Oh, hello, Vi. What's wrong?
You see right through me, don't you?
How much do you need?
I hate doing this to you, George, but I won't be asking for any more after this.
You planning on robbing a bank, Vi?
I'm going to Manhattan.
What's in Manhattan?
Why, everything's in Manhattan. A new start, at least.
That's a big step, Vi. What's the matter with starting a new life right here in Bedford Falls?
Well, I'll be. Never thought I'd hear that from you, George Bailey. I thought you hated this place.
I did, but this town sure is a charm of its own.
I've made my decision. There's a midnight train tonight, and I plan to be on it.
Takes a lot of character to leave your hometown and start all over again. Here's some dough.
No, George, don't.
What do you want to do? Hawk your furs and that hat? Want to work into New York? You know they do charge for meals and rent there just the same as they do in Bedford Falls.
Yeah, sure.
It's a loan. That's my business, building a loan. Besides, you'll get a job. Good luck to you.
I'm glad I know you, George Bailey. Merry Christmas.
George.
What's the matter, Uncle Billy?
The money, the $8,000,
What, Uncle Billy? What happened to it?
I thought I had it. I just don't know what happened.
Well, the first place you look is in your coat pocket. I told you to put it there when you left.
Oh, I'm no good to you, George. I'm no good.
Uncle Billy, we gotta find that money. Think!
I can't think anymore, George. It hurts.
Where's that money, you stupid, silly old fool? Do you realize what this means? It means bankruptcy and scandal and prison. One of us is going to jail? Well, it's not gonna be me.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, darling. Where's your coat and hat?
Left them at the office.
Isn't it wonderful about Harry? We're famous, George. I'll bet I had 50 calls today about the parade and banquet.
Must she keep playing that?
I have to practice for the party tonight, Daddy.
Mommy says we can stay up midnight and sing Christmas carols.
Better hurry and shave. The families will be here soon.
Families? I don't want the families to overhear.
Excuse me?
Have a hectic day?
Oh yeah, another big red letter day for the Baileys.
Daddy, the Browns next door have a new car. You should see it.
Well, what's the matter with our car? Isn't it good enough for you?
Yes, Daddy.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Excuse you for what?
I burped.
All right, darling, you're excused. Now go upstairs and see what little Zuzu wants.
What's the matter with Zuzu?
Oh, she caught a cold coming home from school. They gave her a flower and she didn't want to crush it, so she didn't button up her coat. The doctor says it's nothing serious.
Was the doctor here?
I called him right away.
Is she running a temperature?
Just a teensy one.
gosh, it's this old house. I don't know why we all don't have pneumonia. It's this drafty old barn. Might as well be living in a refrigerator. Why do we have to live here in the first place and stay around this measly, crummy old town?
George, what's wrong?
Everything's wrong. You call this a happy family? Why do we have to have all these kids?
Dad, how do you spell frankincense?
I don't know. Ask your mother.
Where are you going?
Up to see Zuzu.
Hi, Daddy.
Well, what happened to you?
I want a flower.
Where do you think you're going?
Want to give my flower a drink?
Here, give Daddy the flower. I'll give it a drink.
Look, Daddy, some of the petals came off. Paste it.
All right now. There it is, good as new.
Give the flower a drink.
Now, will you try and get some sleep?
I'm not sleepy. I want to look at my flower.
I know, but if you just go to sleep, then you can dream about it and it'll be a whole garden.
It will?
Uh-huh.
Telephone!
I'll get it. Hello. Yes, this is Mrs. Bailey. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Welch. The doctor says she'll be out of bed in time for her Christmas dinner.
Is that Zuzu's teacher?
Yes.
Let me speak to her. Hello, Mrs. Welch? This is George Bailey. Say, what kind of teacher are you anyway? What do you mean sending her home like that, half naked?
George!
Is this some sort of silly thing we pay taxes for? To have teachers like you, silly, stupid, careless people, send our kids home without any clothes on? Aw, that's stupid.
Hello, Mrs. Welch. I want to apologize for... She hung up.
I'll hang her up.
Who do you think you are?
Hello? Who is this? Oh, Mr. Wells. That's fine, Mr. Wells. Gives me a chance to tell you what I really think of your wife.
George.
Will you let me handle this? Hello? Oh, you will, huh? Okay, Mr. Wells. Anytime you think you're man enough. Hello? Oh.
Daddy, how do you spell hallelujah?
What do you think I am, a dictionary? Janie, haven't you learned that silly tune yet? You played it over and over again. Now stop it! Stop it!
George, what are you doing?
I'm sorry, Mary. Janie, I didn't mean... You go on and practice. P, I owe you an apology too. What did you want to know?
Nothing, Daddy.
What's the matter with everyone? Janie, go on. I told you to practice. Go on, play.
Oh, Daddy.
George, why must you torture the children? Why don't you...
Mary...
Where's Daddy going?
Bedford 247, please.
Is Daddy in trouble?
Yes, Pete.
Shall I pray for him?
Yes, Janie, pray very hard.
Me too.
You too, Tommy. Hello, Uncle Billy.
So that's it, George. You're short 8,000.
I'll pay any sort of interest, Mr. Potter. If you still want the building and loan...
You say it was lost. Did you notify the police?
No, I haven't. With Harry's homecoming tomorrow...
Why coming to me? Why not Sam Wainwright?
I can't get a hold of him. He's in Europe.
What kind of security would I have, George?
I have $15,000 life insurance policy.
How much is in your equity?
$500.
And you want 8,000? You used to be so cocky. You're going to go out and conquer the world. You once called me a warp-frustrated old man. But what are you but a warp-frustrated young man? Crawling in here on your hands and knees for help. You're worth more dead than you are alive!
I'll do anything, Mr. Potter. Please, help me.
You know what I'm going to do for you? As a stockholder in the building and loan, I'm calling the state examiner to get a warrant for your arrest. Misappropriation of funds, manipulation, malfeasance. Go on and run, George. You can't hide in a little town like this.
Merry Christmas. Glad you come.
What's he saying?
After running out of Potter's office, George ended up at Martini's bar. He's had a couple of drinks and is just sitting there.
Oh, what's he saying?
Shh!
Dear Father in heaven, I'm not a praying man, but if you're up there and you can hear me, show me the way.
Are you all right, George?
Why you drink so much, my friend? You do not feel good. Please go home, Mr. Bailey.
Bailey? Which Bailey?
This gentleman is Mr. George Bailey.
George Bailey? Huh? The next time you talk to my wife like that, you'll get it worse. It isn't enough she slaves teaching your stupid kids how to read and write. You've got to ball her out.
You get out of here, Mr. Welsh. You hit my best friend.
All right.
Mr. Bailey, you okay?
Who was that?
Mr. Welch. But don't worry, he won't come in this place no more. I'll get something for your face. It's bleeding.
I'm all right.
Please don't go, Mr. Bailey. Please don't.
George is headed to the bridge now, Clarence. Can you see him?
He looks like he's gonna jump.
It's time, Clarence.
Help! Help me! I can't swim!
Hold it, mister, I'm coming.
What in the Sam Hill are you two doing here? Now get out of that water. Are you two all right? You need a doctor?
I'm fine. This underwear. I didn't have time to get anything stylish. My wife gave me this on my last birthday. I passed away in it.
Passed away?
Oh, I see. Tom Sawyer's drawing out too.
Who?
My book. I left in such a hurry I brought Tom Sawyer with me. You should really read the new book. Martin Twain is working on it.
How'd you happen to fall in?
I jumped in so you wouldn't go through with it.
Go through with what?
Suicide.
Suicide's against the law around here.
It's against the law where I come from, too.
Where do you come from?
Heaven.
What?
I had to act quickly. That's why I jumped in. I knew if I were drowning, you would try and save me. And you did. And that's how I saved you.
Very funny.
Your lip's bleeding, George.
I got a bust in the jaw in answer to a prayer.
Oh no, George. I'm the answer to your prayer.
How do you know my name?
I know all about you.
What are you, a mind reader or something?
Oh no. My name's Clarence Oddbody. AS2.
Oddbody. AS2. What's that? AS2.
Angel second class.
What? You may not need a doctor, but I do.
Cheerio, my good man.
Hey, looky here. Why do you gotta save me?
'Cause I'm your guardian angel.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Ridiculous of you to think of killing yourself for $8,000.
How do you know things like that?
I told you I'm your angel guardian.
Well, you look like the kind of angel I'd get. Sort of a fallen angel, aren't you? What happened to your wings?
Well, I haven't won my wings yet. That's why I'm an angel second class. But you can help me earn them by letting me help you.
You don't happen to have $8,000 on you?
Oh no, we don't use money in heaven.
Comes in pretty handy down here, bub. Find it out a bit late. I'm worth more dead than alive.
I won't get my wings with that attitude. You just don't know all that you've done. If it hadn't been for you...
If it hadn't been for me, everyone would be a lot better off. My wife and my kids and friends.
This is not gonna be easy.
They'd be all better be off if I hadn't been born.
What'd you say?
I wish I'd never been born.
George, that's wonderful.
Wonderful?
The idea you just gave me, that'd do it. Okay, there. You've got your wish. You've never been born.
Never been born?
Exactly. No worries, no $8,000 to get, nothing. You simply don't exist.
Wait a minute. Say something in this here ear mine.
That's right. You can hear out of it, don't you see? You're nobody.
Well, that's a dog-honest thing.
Your lips stopped bleeding too, George.
Well, what do you know? What happened? I need a drink. What about you, Angel? Do you want a drink?
Well, I don't know.
Come on. We'll go as soon as our clothes are dry.
Our clothes are dry.
The stove's harder than I thought. Well, look, let's go get dressed and we'll stroll over to Martini's and... Oh, excuse me, I'll stroll and you fly.
I haven't got my wings.
There's a place to sit down. Welcome to the best bar in Bedford Falls.
Bedford Falls? Do you mean Pottersville?
Pottersville? Hey, where's Martini? Your boss.
Look, I'm the boss. You want a drink or don't you?
Okay, all right. Double bourbon. Quick, huh?
What's yours, bub?
I was just thinking of mulled wine. Heavy on the cinnamon and light on the clothes. Off with you, my lad. Be lively.
Look, mister, we serve hard drinks in here for men who want to get drunk fast. And we don't need any characters around to give the joint atmosphere.
Now just give him the same as I ordered. He's all right.
2 double bourbon.
What is it about this place? It seems to have changed.
All of Bedford Falls has changed. You're having your wish, George. You've never been born. There'll be lots of things you've never seen before. Oh good, somebody just made it. Every time you hear a bell ring, it means that some angel's just got his wings.
What did you say?
Clarence, you better not talk about angels around here.
What, don't they believe in angels?
Maybe they believe in them, but, you know.
So why should they be surprised when they see one?
Don't mind him, Nick. He never grew up. How old are you anyway, Clarence?
293 next May.
That does it. Out you two pixies go, through the door or out the window. Well, look who crawled out from under the gutter. Hole he's been hiding in.
Hey, it's Mr. Gower.
Didn't I tell you never to come panhandling around here?
Mr. Gower, this is George Bailey. Don't you know me?
Buy me a drink, mister. Just one drink, mister. Binky, throw the rummy out.
You got it.
Hey, Nick, isn't that Mr. Gower, the druggist?
That rumhead spent 20 years in jail for poisoning some kid. If you know him, you must be a jailbird yourself. Binky, here's 2 more. Get him out of here.
Yeah, you got it, boss.
What's wrong with Mr. Gower?
He doesn't know you, George, and you weren't there to stop him from putting that poison into that prescription.
What do you mean I wasn't there? What are you, a hypnotist? Why am I seeing all these strange things here?
It's because you were never born.
Then if I wasn't born, who am I?
Nobody, George. You have no identity.
What do you mean? My name's George Bailey.
There is no George Bailey. You have no papers, no cards, no driver's license, no 4F card, no insurance policy.
Susie's petals! My little girl. Some petals fell out of her flower. I told her I fixed it and stuck them in my pocket. But they're gone too. Everything's gone.
You've been given a great gift, George. The chance to see what the world would be like without you.
You're crazy as a bed bug, and you're driving me crazy too. Now leave me alone. I'm going home to my wife and my family.
You know the drill. Hands behind your back, mister.
Why don't you bust someone else for a change?
Hey, officer, where did the building and loan move to?
The building and what?
The Bailey Building and Loan. It was in that building.
They went out of business years ago. Now all that's left is this burlesque house.
Not so fast, Copper. I know Potter.
Hey, Violet. Hey, that's Violet Bick.
Believe me, I know.
I know that girl.
Who doesn't? Now get out of my way.
Taxi! Hey, Ernie, take me home. I'm going off to my nut.
Where do you live?
Doggone it, Ernie. Don't you start pulling that stuff. You know where I live.
Okay, 320 Sycamore?
Ernie, straighten me out here. I've got some bad liquor or something. Listen to me. Now, you're Ernie Bishop and you live in Bailey Park with your wife and your kid, right?
You've seen my wife?
Seen your wife? I've been to your house 100 times.
What's the idea? I live in a shack in Potter's Field, and my wife ran away 3 years ago and took the kid. And I ain't never seen you before in my life.
Okay, just step on it. Take me home.
Is this the place?
Of course it's the place.
This here house ain't been lived in for 20 years.
Mary, Pete, Tommy, Janie, Zuzu, I'm home.
They're not here, George. You have no children.
What have you done with them, Clarence?
All right, put up both your hands, both of you. No fast moves.
Bert, thank heaven you're here. Bert, what's happened to this house? Where's Mary and my kids?
Come with me. I'm going to take you down to the station.
Bert, listen to me. That fellow here says he's an angel.
Don't make me use my nightstick.
Bert, I hate to do this, but...
Run, George, run!
My Bailey boarding house. Mother?
Mother, what do you want?
Mother, I'm George. I thought for sure you'd remember me.
If you're looking for a room, there's no vacancy.
Mother, please try and understand. Something's happened to me. I need a place to stay. Please, let me stay here.
I don't take in strangers.
I'm not a stranger. I know everyone you know, your brother-in-law, Uncle Billy.
When did you see him last?
Today, over at his house.
That's a lie. He's been in the same asylum ever since he's lost his business. And if you ask me, that's where you belong.
I'm here again, George.
My own mother didn't even know me.
One man's life touches so many others. When he isn't around, he leaves a pretty big hole, doesn't he?
Look, I've heard things like this before. You've got me under kind of a spell. Well, I'm gonna snap out of it. Now let me think. Bailey Park.
There is no Bailey Park. If you weren't here to build it.
We'll see. What's this graveyard doing here where Bailey Park is supposed to be? Look at this gravestone. Why's my brother Harry's name here?
Harry broke through the ice and drowned at the age of 9.
That's a lie. Harry Bailey went to war. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved the lives of every man on that transport.
Every man on that transport died. Harry wasn't there to save them because you weren't there to save Harry. You see, George, you've really had a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake it would be to throw it away?
What happened to Mary, Clarence?
I'm not supposed to tell you, George.
I don't know how you know the things you do, but just please, just let me see her. Where is she?
You're not going to like it, George. She's an old maid.
What? Where is she?
She's just about to close up the library. There must be some easier way to earn my wings.
Is the library closed?
It's Christmas Eve. We can't stay open all night.
Mary, I'm sorry.
How do you know my name?
Please, just 2 minutes. That's all I need.
You sound desperate. I'll help if I can. What is it?
Isn't this town Bedford Falls?
It used to be, but then Potter was elected and renamed the town Pottersville.
Mary Hatch, you live in a white Victorian on Reed Street with your mother, and you have an older brother named Marty.
How do you know all this? Get your hands off me. I'll call a cop.
Don't you know me? You must. Mary, it's George. Oh, don't do this to me. Where are our kids? I need you, Mary.
Get away from me. Help, police.
It's George. Please, Mary, you're my wife. Help me, Clarence. Get me back. I don't care what happens to me. Only get me back to my wife and kids. Help me, Clarence, please. I want to live again. Oh, God, please let me live again.
George, is that you, George?
Bert, you come any closer and I'll hit you again.
What in the Sam Hill are you yelling for, George?
George? Bert, do you know me?
Know you? I've been looking all over town for you.
I'm alive again, Bert.
You sure you're all right? Your mouth's bleeding.
It is? Hey, my mouth's bleeding. Susan's petals, they're there too. What do you know about that? Merry Christmas, Bert.
Get in the car, I'll drive you home.
Christmas, Bedford Falls. Hey, Merry Christmas to you, wonderful building and loan. Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter.
Merry Christmas, George. Going home. The sheriff's waiting for you.
Mary, I'm home. Hey, what is this? Merry Christmas, everyone.
George, I got a little paper here.
I bet it's a warrant for my arrest. Isn't that wonderful? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Kids, Pete, Janie, Tommy, I could eat you up. Where's your mother?
She went looking for you with Uncle Billy.
George, darling, where have you been? Oh, George.
Mary, you're real. You have no idea what's happened.
You have no idea what's happened either. Come on, George, quick, they're on their way.
Who's on their way? The police department, the FBI, the National Guard? Let them in. I'm alive again, Mary.
Now you stand right over here by the tree and don't move. George, it's a miracle. Come in, Uncle Billy. Everybody in here.
Isn't it wonderful? Mary did it. George, she told a few people you were in trouble, and they all scattered out all over town collecting money. They didn't ask any questions, just said, if George is in trouble, you can count on me. You never saw anything like it.
Here you go, $240. I busted the jukebox too.
Mr. Gower.
I made the rounds of my charge accounts.
Violet Bick.
I'm not going to go, George. I changed my mind. I've been saving this money for my divorce if I can ever get a husband.
Quiet, everybody. Quiet. A telegram from London.
Oh, London.
Mr. Gower, Cables, you need cash. Stop. My office instructed to advance you up to $25,000. Stop. Hee-haw. And Merry Christmas, Sam Wainwright.
Mary, looks like I got here too late.
Harry, how about your banquet in Washington?
I left as soon as I got Mary's telegram.
How about some wine?
Good idea. A toast to my big brother, George, the richest man in town.
What's this book, George?
Tom Sawyer.
Look, there's an inscription.
George, remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Thanks for the wings. Love, Clarence.
What's that?
A Christmas present from a very dear friend of mine.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence.
This has been STBEN Playhouse of the Air's presentation of It's a Wonderful Life. Please stay tuned for a program of popular holiday music. This is Fiona Fillmore signing off for STBEN Chicago, Illinois, and wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Good night.
Backstage helping our sound effects students, Mr. Gabriel helping with all the sound, Mr. Kilabasa with our wonderful music. And last but not least, our wonderful administration, our wonderful homeroom teachers who supported all of our students in making this performance possible. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. And I'd just like to say, I'd like to keep our theater students and our choir students just for a group picture at the end. But thank you all so much and have a wonderful evening.